Welcome to Direcast, the podcast of podcast people. Here at Direcast, our group of 6 vertebrates play different RPGs, bringing you a new game and system every few weeks. This week, we're playing Antological Theory by Adira Slattery, a game where you play as ants discussing philosophy. My name's Luki, and this week's question is going to be, when was the last time you saw an ant? I'm not actually sure when the last time I saw an ant was, but I think it would have been a few weeks ago at the park.
Hey, I'm Matt, and the last time I saw an ant was... I actually saw one crawling across the kitchen surface the other day, which is bad, isn't it?
Ooh. Yeah, it is. You should sanitise.
No, it ain't.
I'm Jacob, and last time I saw an ant was watching some YouTubers play a game about being shrunk down to the size of mites, where they just get randomly mugged by ants for survival gear, like horse-sized ants. So that was entertaining.
Well, no, they're ant-sized ants. They're just ant-sized people.
Proportionally.
Hi, I'm Helen, and I can't remember the last time I consciously saw an ant, but I was in a forest yesterday, so there were definitely ants, and I maybe saw one and immediately forgot.
Huh,
Psionically projected onto an ant.
My name is Peter, and the last time I saw an ant was in a YouTube video about a guy who was moving his fire ant colony into a terrarium that he based on the film Avatar.
My God.
That was a sentence that just kind of developed.
Yeah, and I didn't even lie.
Hi, I'm H, and the last time I saw an ant was possibly also in the kitchen on a muesli jar.
What? There was an ant on
That's
a
not
muesli
good.
jar?
Sorry about that, Helen. Yeah, sorry, Helen,
morning.
I didn't mention the ant muesli.
It's extra
Why was I not told?
Well, now you got some protein in there.
I mean, if it was on the outside of the jar...
That's what jars are for.
So, now we know who everyone is, and we know what we're playing, it sounds like it's time to get to the show. So, the concept of Antological Theory is that we are a group of ants in a colony of ants, and we are going to have a philosophical round table. So, as it says at the beginning, you are now an ant philosopher, one of the great minds of the colony. The current speaker rolls a topic from the list, and then the assembled philosophers debate it until they reach a consensus or decide the question is trivial and no longer worthy of debate. The speaker then passes to the next philosopher clockwise. If you roll a topic already discussed, you must talk about how the previous consensus was facile and banal. Facile, and banal.
Facile.
Yeah, before
Facile,
moving
banal.
to the next
Banal.
topic.
Oh, it's banal.
I'd say.
Banal?
It's banana.
Oh,
It's
wait,
banana.
Banal.
The
Banana?
first speaker is the ant who loves the queen the most.
Oh.
Let's get ready to fight. So there are 66 topics, as in the numbers 6 and 6, and we roll 2d6 to get a 2-digit code. So like I'll decide I have a blue and a white, and I'll decide my blue is the tens, and my white is... These are my dice, and my white is the digit, and then I would roll... So the blue is a 3, and the white is a 4, so I would choose
34.
topic number 34. Yeah.
I see,
So that's
I
how
see.
it works.
We have a philosopher outlook survey
Yes.
at the bottom.
So this is the first thing we do, is we kind of design our characters.
It's at the bottom. It's at the bottom. It's a lovely little personal defense form. I don't actually know that's what that means. Sorry. Continue,
Is
Luki.
this your natural voice again now? Has it
Yes,
gone another
no.
octave? Okay,
Peter
cool.
is
No,
going
no.
through his second puberty, listeners, and it's really trying for all of us.
Yeah, it's really throwing everyone off.
Guys, I just want to buy Lynx Africa and talk to girls.
Lynx Africa.
So,
breast display in Africa.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
Oh, no.
So we have, it's called the Philosopher Outlook Survey, listeners, and it's basically our designing of our characters. So we're all ants in the same colony, but we have some questions where we decide how we prioritise one thing over another, and that will inform our characters and therefore the way that we debate our philosophical topics.
I just, before we go any further, I just want to clarify something.
Yeah?
So, like, we're all playing just because I'm going to venture that a lot of us have pretty similar actual political and moral beliefs. So, like,
Yes.
I might
Yeah.
be interesting if someone didn't play, like necessarily themselves, if
Yes.
that makes any sense.
Well, yeah, I'm going
just
to play a
saying.
royalist.
Yeah, I was thinking I might play
Gotcha.
something a
I
little
was
bit
wondering about that,
bonkers.
because otherwise it's a bunch of,
Well,
lefty
also,
queers
most
discussing
of these
things
questions are not like human philosophy.
Are we all going to end up going like horribly the other way and be like massive like pro-capitalist
Not
royalists?
necessarily.
yeah.
I just think, like, I think, like, play something you don't have to answer every question as truly as you might in real life.
And also, listeners, our philosophical answers to these ant questions are probably not going to be what we ourselves would say. We are playing characters.
Yeah.
That is always the case.
We do realise that society is slightly more complicated than an ant mound.
Colony.
and
Colony.
Hive?
Colony.
Hill.
Yeah.
Does anyone
Oh,
It's a hill,
colonies.
usually.
Oh, yeah.
Ants
This...
are one of the things I know very little about.
Can I suggest a ground rule before we get started?
Yes?
No looking up shit on Wikipedia.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
Googling.
No looking up ant stuff. I know
There will
so
be
little
no.
about ants.
This will be a fact-free zone. I'm speaking as someone with a philosophy degree. That is the only way to do
It's
it.
really hilarious that you keep talking about this as if it's going to be real philosophy questions, because just a sampling of the questions for you. Are there different kinds of colonies? Why do you fight other colonies? Is food still food when no ant is there?
That's an important one.
Wait.
Like, okay, so, right, I am going to start. I have decided my character's name is Reginald, and he
Okay.
is the Queen's personal butler. And he is, again, I know nothing about ants. He is a male, his pronouns are he, him, and he is a royalist through and through. Anyone else have a character name? You don't have to, but...
Okay, I'm gonna jump in, and my character is gonna be called Digby, and he's a
Nice.
worker ant, and he believes in the power of the workforce to make the ants better and stronger.
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
Who's next? H.
I'm going to be Antonio.
Nice.
Yeah.
Any pronouns are good for Antonio.
Um,
And I'm not sure what Antonio thinks yet. We'll get there, I think.
Yeah.
in time.
Antonio's new to the philosophy circle.
He is. He's very young. She hasn't been around long. And I can't spell Antonio. I just wrote Auntie. So that says everything.
I am going to be Civ, and I am a worker
Ha ha!
who has differing opinions.
Forming a union. Is that Civ S-I-V or...
Sieve.
EVE.
Like the utensil,
Okay,
Good.
love it.
their pronouns are they, them.
Cool.
Excellent.
Peter.
I've dredged my mind for a name and a character, and the only thing I can come up with is and Dick. My name,
Fabulous.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
all one word.
and Dick.
No, he will be and Dick. He is a he, him, and he will. Well, he hasn't decided on his opinions yet. He is
A blank slate.
very much a tabula rasa in an ant.
A what?
A blank slate.
I quite like the idea that Ant Deck is kind of a bit like, I don't really know.
I have a feeling
Yeah.
he's some sort of ant fridge salesman. I don't know why.
He's a door-to-door salesman who got in too deep.
Colony to colony salesman.
Jacob.
Okay, I've come up with. I think his name is going to be Chad. This guy is a Chad. Let's be honest. Because I have semi-randomly generated my opinions. I stopped doing it randomly once a clear, personality came out. And this guy he's a martial communist. The colony takes primacy. The colony must be defended.
Okay.
Nice.
The colony exists to necessitate its own violent defense or expansion.
This is why we should never have had a philosophy graduate join us. The rest of us are like, yeah, we have thoughts, and he's like, here is my straight opinions.
Death to the non.
This is my regency on the political compass. And we're like, yo, we've got star sign.
Okay, now we have some philosophical questions where you pick one or the other, and we're just going to do them quickly, going round the table for each of your characters. So the first one is either the colony serves the Queen, or the Queen loves the colony. I have chosen the Queen loves the colony. H.
Right, let me go. The colony serves the Queen.
The colony serves the Queen.
The Queen loves the colony.
I agree. The Queen loves the colony.
Queen loves the colony, and she's all very nice.
Next we have soldiers or workers. I have soldiers.
I shall go. Workers.
Soldiers.
Soldiers.
The workers.
Workers.
Many castes or one colony. Many castes.
Many casts.
One colony.
One colony!
Casts are a fiction. One colony.
One colony.
Ants are created by the queen, or ants are created from nothing. I have ants are created by the queen.
I'm going to go ants are created from nothing.
Ants. 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 They're created by the queen.
Yeah, ants created by the queen.
Ants are indeed created by the queen.
Ants, they're created by the queen.
Life through the colony, or death for the colony. I have life through the colony.
Life through the colony.
Life through the colony.
Death for the colony!
Life through the colony.
Life. Please.
I prefer life to
Life.
death, right? Isn't it?
Oh, no. Life. You know what they say. Life better than death. Death very short. Life longer. And you know what it's got? Better returns.
Yes, dear. Ants are good, or the queen is good. And I, of course, chosen the queen is good.
Ants are good.
Ants are good.
Ants are good.
The colony is good.
Hold on.
Not an option.
Ants are good.
Can't join this club if you're going to be contrary.
Oh, what? The philosopher has been booted out of the philosophy club for being too cutting edge. What is this? The ants are good.
The queen is good.
So, I believe Reginald must love the queen the most.
Probably.
I think that's
Yeah,
likely.
almost certainly.
Oh, yeah.
So
I don't think that's a contest.
I will make the first roll. So blue is 10s. Our first question is hunger real?
Oh boy.
This is a complicated question because, you see, we feel hunger, but if we do nothing about it, all that happens is we die, but the colony and the queen carries on, and that's what matters. So, is hunger real, or is it that we are imagining that when we feel hungry we need something?
I would venture that hunger is not in fact a thing, but is an absence of a thing. So hunger is the anti-food, is it not? Food is a thing. Hunger is the absence of food. Ergo, hunger is no thing.
You need to work to get food. Thereby, hunger is the ideal, the ideal within one's ant brain or brain.
Yep.
Yep.
Thorax.
But even the queen asked for food.
Or I'll get the end of my point. I got distracted.
Well, I didn't know.
No, sorry, you did not interrupt me. Thank you. It sounded like I got to the end of my thought. I was inhaling through my skin.
Well, like I was saying,
How on earth have you made success as a salesman when you can't get to the end of a sentence?
That's the thing, they get so bored, they just tell him to...
all ants are created by Her Holiness the Queen, and if all ants are created by Her Holiness the Queen asks for food, then it must be that food has a special importance, and whether or not it's to fill an emptiness or to make her less hungry, the Queen wants food, and that means the food needs to be there, and that means we get hungry.
But the Queen doesn't have a monopoly on food or hunger. The Queen gets food whenever she asks for it because she is at the top of the pyramid.
All
But
hail.
hunger is far more relevant to those at the bottom of the pyramid, those without, that constantly have to work for food yet seldom have it. I feel those echelons of society have more to offer us on the question, is hunger real?
Well, no, because if the queen feels hunger for too long, then she can't create more ants, and therefore the colony would fail.
But I would venture the Queen in her ivory tower has never gone too long. She is not familiar with hunger, for she has never been hungry.
We did build that tower out of an old elephant tusk, it's true.
Listen to yourself, Digby, that's our mum.
Oh, I have nothing but respect for the Queen. I merely venture that in her position of a gilded throne, she is not the best authority on the question of is hunger real. For her, hunger may in fact not be real, for she but seldom experiences it.
But she does experience it.
Oh, I've no doubt that on occasion she
But
has
on
experienced
occasion,
it.
hunger is still hunger, innit?
But the question is not, is hunger real to the Queen? The question is hunger real? Question mark.
If the queen feels hunger, then it must be real, because the queen would never lie to us.
I mean, we all came from the Queen. The Queen created all ants. All ants come from her.
May I offer that focusing on the Queen is getting off topic. Whether
quite
the Queen
agree.
specifically feels hunger is irrelevant.
It is but a
and that's
narrow
sound
field
to the
of
question.
the question.
Hunger drives the colony to gain food to keep the colony going. And again, whether it's real or not may not be relevant. It may be, what's the word in the rules? May be trivial, because it's only important in as much as it drives us to sate that hunger, or it drives the colony to sate that hunger and sustain itself.
Could we all therefore agree, as a philosophy table, that though we may or may not agree whether hunger is real, we can all collectively agree that the effects of hunger are real?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes,
Yeah.
I can agree on that.
Motion passed. Fantastic. We have agreed on this point. I should note it in the record.
I can sell you some paper.
That was surprisingly swift.
Well, Antonio, I reckon it's your turn. You give us a topic now, eh?
Oh, thank you. Okay, well, this is my voice now, so that's happened, and I'm going to tell us that our next topic is a number, and I'm looking it up on the thought table. Does food go away when you eat it? I think it's relevant to the last topic, so if we talk about this one. Does food go away when you eat it?
Yeah, it's not there anymore.
I mean, I don't want to eat it when it appears again, if you know what I mean.
I don't know what you mean.
It is still there.
No, if you can't see it anymore, it's not still there, it's gone.
That's true.
When the enemy disappears, they can definitely still be there. I speak as the person in the room with the least legs, from direct experience.
You've got
Well, I
three
mean,
legs.
I do support our soldiers, of course.
4.5, thank you very
I
much.
support our
So I
troops.
forgot about the peg.
Yes.
My dear tripod, whilst I do somewhat agree on some of your points, I would say that the enemy is different to the food because there is no demand for the enemy.
I quite agree.
Well, yes. How's this to do with it going away?
As I have strong opinions on this subject, but I will bloviate on them later.
Well, now, when you eat it, it is no longer food.
That was
So-
exactly what you took the words out of my pincers.
You're welcome.
But
They
you
are-
see, but you see,
In that
this is
sense, it has gone away because there is now no food.
Yes, whatever
but-
it may have become.
I disagree. You see, because you must understand. I have spent time with the scientist ants, and they have many things to add to this conversation. So you must understand that when a certain creature eats food, it stops being food to them, but it may in fact be primal food for something lower down the food chain, or the pyramid.
But what
example.
do scientists really know?
Why
Well,
do
they know
we
many
not have a
things.
scientist in our midst? We should really invite one.
We should have invited us. That was an oversight.
Well,
Was
you
a
see,
little bit, yeah.
they don't think the way we do, because it's not like they don't go like, oh, what if? They're like, this is, you know? They're all like,
That's true.
I
Based on
disagree. The
fact.
scientific
Right.
method is without reproach. I myself have spent many, many hours working in the demolition labs building my explosives. You have to be very careful, and you have to accept the word of fact and only fact. And I believe firmly in science.
Yes, but Digby,
We respect that
you
view,
blew up the
Digby, but
throne
once
room.
again, we are drifting off topic.
Therefore, food ceases to be food for the eater once it has been eaten, but may in fact be food for something lower down the caste pyramid.
but when
But
we're
why
talking
would we
about
care
food,
about
we're
that?
talking about what we eat, right? When we say food,
Yes.
we're not talking about, like, because things eat mud, and we're not calling mud food.
Oh, but mud might be food to something else, something that is
Yeah,
not an
but
ant.
we ain't calling it food, are we? If I want to
we
give
are
you...
not.
Why would we
No.
care about what other creatures eat?
Here we are struggling with the definition of terms.
If I have you over for tea and I serve you up some mud, you won't be happy, will you? You'll say
I
this
will
ain't
not,
food.
but I am an ant. I am an ant.
And
I
we're,
have a very
and we're
specific
talking
diet.
about ants. We're not doing philosophy for gnats.
Oh, but no, you cannot talk of philosophy without talking about the great questions. As my learned friend has said, we are struggling with a contradiction in terms.
Yes.
There we
Yeah,
go.
so basically, are we talking about food specifically? Does ant food stop being ant food when an ant eats it? Or are we talking about food as a universal concept of sustenance?
Well, when we talk about food, we talk about ant food, don't we?
Well, why would it matter if it doesn't apply to us?
Shall we take that secondary motion to limit the question to food for ants?
I agree. Let's
Aye.
limit the question.
Which implicitly recognises that food can be a universal concept, but again, we are regarding that as facile.
I agree.
Yes, all
I
right.
shall note it down in the notebook as an amendment point that we can return to at a later date, but for now we shall examine the question, is ant food stopping to be ant food when it is eaten by an ant? Agreed?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely,
Thank you,
yes.
Digby. You're an excellent secretary.
I have been here many years.
From personal experience, I can say that you can sell a lot to an ant. Many an ant will take, in fact, many things to be food, and so long as there is enough supply, they will, in fact, accept it.
Yes.
However, when that food runs out, they do get a bit narc, and then the contracts are up, and then I have to run away.
So what you're saying by that is that it does indeed go away.
Yes.
Yes.
Sometimes a food supply will go, and when that happens, that is very sad, and we all get round the water drop and cry. I don't know what I'm saying.
The water drop.
But I have a further complexity to add to the question. For if
here he
you
goes.
eat ant food and that food ceases to be food, we have agreed this, correct? However, then the product of said food that comes out of the other end of the ant. Now, you can take that and you can spread it on the ground and you can grow crops with it, which you can then eat and thus repeat the process. So the crops are food and the
Yes,
crops
but-
come from the manure.
But that's the energy.
We're drifting off topic into
That's a different question.
into which comes first, the ant or
We're
the
not
egg.
talking about agriculture.
But if it stops being food and then returns to being food.
Yes, but they become the food for the crops. Ant leavings, as we have already, as we must discuss them, they become the food for the crops, and we have already established that food for anything that is not an ant is not pertinent to this conversation, Digby.
And you said yourself, Digby, food goes away when you eat it. So we're in agreement. It goes away when you eat it.
It feels like
Yeah.
we are in agreement with this one.
Food goes away when it is eaten, Digby.
We can agree. Food goes away when it is eaten.
Excellent.
Motion carried.
Or
Who's next?
at least, Amendment B, food ceases to be food when it is eaten.
Yep.
Motion pass.
Civ, I believe it is your turn to choose a topic.
I know Chad's going to have an opinion on this one. Oh,
Oh, excellent.
why do you fight with other colonies?
Oh.
Ha!
Oh.
Well, Civ, would you like to introduce your opinion on this topic?
Well, we fight with other colonies because they take our food. And if we haven't got our food, then we can't, eat. Like, we work so we can have our food. And then, if we haven't got any food, because the other colonies are taking it, we can't store our food, and then we haven't got any stores, and then we'll all be hungry.
No. We store the food so that if something happens and someone is in greater need of the food than we are, we have food stored so we can still eat.
We store the food so we've got extra food.
This isn't the question at hand, gentle them.
But that is why we fight, so that they don't take our food.
Exactly. We fight when people contest the food trails and scavenge zones that we maintain in order to keep the colony healthy and
And for
thriving.
the honour of the Queen.
No, we fight.
Exactly.
We fight to be the best colony, because the more we fight, and the more food we procure, and the more area we bring into our colony, the greater colony we become, and therefore our queen becomes the greatest queen.
We don't need to be taking no extra area.
You fight because you have not found a way to distribute properly. Now, if ants kept to their proper proportions, there's enough to go round. However, you could still get your growth. You could still be biggest. And this competition is important. But you need to have somebody to be a middleman. You need to have somebody who will come in and connect all of the dots. So you fight because you are unnecessarily greedy.
With respect, Mr. Salesman, the only dots that need connecting are my mandibles with some poor sod's thorax.
I believe that we fight in order to preserve an artificial system of oppression and authority of the silent masses.
How could you
Aye.
say such a thing?
What Digby said.
The queen is appointed by the graciousness.
She's not appointed. She's
The
just...
queen,
No.
the queen is a biological specimen. The queen is an ant.
A
So the
biological
ants-
necessity.
We can agree a biological necessity, but the queen does not have the God-given right to defeat other queens.
What's
now,
a god?
my beef is not with the queen. Now, hear me. As my learned salesman friend says, there is plenty of resources to go around, yet constantly we fight for resources. Why is this?
Because there ain't enough to go around because the other colonies are taking them.
This is a fallacy and a lie.
Nope,
There
that
is
is
Because we
plenty
need
to
to
go
be the
around.
greatest colony. If we're not the greatest colony, then we're worthless.
We are all part of one large colony, you see. These artificial borders and nations are all merely a construct.
Aye, we're one colony.
If we are not the greatest colony, then we are not bringing glory to our queen.
If I may, the colony gains food so that it grows, so that it is better able to resource its workers and its soldiers so that they can retrieve food by which the colony can grow.
So you admit it's a self-fulfilling circle?
Yes.
Absolutely. As someone said before, I think it was Civ, a biologically necessary one.
We grow so that we may continue to grow, and each ant foot of distance that we add to our colony grounds brings glory to the colony and to the queen.
What worth is glory to the people the ants that need to eat?
I don't care about glory, but I'm just saying that, like, if we want to make sure we have enough food, and they're taking all the food, then
They're not taking all the food.
So we get the
Where
food.
did you read that they're taking all the food, if indeed we can read
Word
his
of
answer?
Everyone knows that they're taking all the food.
I disagree.
I can say from experience that when the other colonies get their way, they do indeed take the food that we otherwise would have had access to.
But you yourself say we do the same. What makes us any better than them?
And if we were not retaining the food, then someone else would be encroaching on our game trails because we would not be as able to defend them.
Enroaching, strong words.
Sounds like a termite word.
Military word. Comes with the territory. No pun intended. It can be said that a large colony can find itself trying to defend too many game trails at once. And that is why you need learned officers who use strategy to note the most valuable resource trails and defend them properly.
Precisely, Colonel
Our
Chad.
soldiers give their lives to make sure we have enough to eat.
And they needn't. That's all
That's
we're saying.
Lieutenant Captain Chad to you.
Apologies, Lieutenant Captain. I had you confused with the Colonel.
Colonel Chat.
Colonel Chad. There is a Colonel Chad. It's a very common ant name.
It's a kernel of truth.
Oh.
You are all cogs in an ancient and oppressive machine.
An antiquated machine.
Oh!
That's the second antiquated use you've done. I'm calling you out on this.
Yes.
We're pulling you out, Peter. You've gone too deep.
Staging an intervention.
Oh.
So have we have not reached a consensus on this.
We have not.
I think we shall have to agree to disagree.
I feel like there is a consensus. I think we are disagreeing about... We all know why we fight. We disagree about whether that is a good thing
Whether we
or
should
not.
or whether we should not fight, indeed.
Exactly. But we all agree that we do, and we all agree that we do for the same reasons. To gain
For
more
resources.
food in order for the colony to grow.
We can agree that that is
Why
the
we
reason.
fight.
That is the reason,
Why?
yes.
We can agree that is the official reason.
So that
The
is
the
why
physical
we fight
reason.
other colonies.
Whether it's morally necessary or not is another matter entirely.
It is a
Yeah, I
trivial
think it
matter.
is.
All
Right, well, moving on before we
The
start
greatest
something again.
honour to fight and die for one's colony.
Oh, all
In
right.
real
all
life,
right.
listeners, I am very anti-military.
So am I.
Thoroughly
I think we all
anti-military in the real
I'm just
world.
standing here like
Anti.
go soldiers.
Yes.
Jacob is part of the
Anti-military.
anti-military.
Oh.
Hey.
Anyway.
All right, Chad, you're up.
Okay, let's see what's on the table now. That is... Is the colony physical?
Well, yes.
Oh.
No.
Ooh.
Superficially, yes, absolutely. We live in a colony mound, and that is the kind of the focus of our activity and our existence. Nevertheless, is there a difference between the colony with a little c and the colony with a capital C?
Yes.
Absolute.
I have something I would like to say upon this matter.
Of course, and Dick.
I have seen a colony destroyed. However, the Queen but lived, and they did move a little bit up the river. So, the colony is but an ideal in one's mind. And when that ideal that company, that brand, has to make itself a place, and they can buy a series of leaves.
Ah, yes.
Yes,
The fall
but-
of Antidas. I remember it well.
But if
Dear listeners, I live with this man, and don't worry, I will hit him quite a lot.
Thank you, Peter.
had the queen died, the colony would not have survived, and all of those ants would have either died or had to become parts of another colony. Therefore, the colony is physical, but the colony is the queen. Because
Yes.
without
No,
the queen, there is no colony, and if the queen leaves, we follow. And if the queen dies, we lose the colony.
No. Without the colony, there is no colony. May I raise you? What would a queen be on
I
her
quite
own?
agree.
No. Without the queen, there is nothing.
No, Reginald.
Yeah.
What is then a queen on her own? Would you describe that as a colony? I think not. The ants
Yes.
make the colony.
She is
No, a queen on her
But the
own is
queen-
simply a queen. What can a queen do without her colony?
She can produce a
She
colony.
literally
Queen
cannot
cannot
survive on her
feed
own.
herself.
She can produce an entire colony on her own.
No, she cannot if no one is feeding her.
No, she definitely needs attendant drones. You should know this, Reginald.
Well, yes, but
You have to manage the fuckers.
But even principally, she is just a queen. She is not a colony.
Just the
Listen,
queen.
I
the
have told
queen
you before, I
gets
shall
it.
tell you again. Those at the top require those at the bottom more than those at the bottom require those
that is
at the top.
simply not true. We rely on them for everything.
We do not.
And
What
without
do
them,
we
we
rely
are
on her
nothing.
for aside
What
from
do we
ants?
rely on them for, aside from our base existence?
We're getting off topic, right? The important thing is the colony physical?
Yes, and the colony is physical in that it is the queen.
It is physical in that it is the ants.
We can agree there is a physical colony.
Strangely enough, I'm inclined to disagree with Reginald and be more with Digby on this one.
Ah, well.
Shocking as that
Lieutenant
sounds.
Chad.
The Queen is an essential component, yes, but that does not mean she is the entire colony.
I would disagree on her essentialness, but yes, she is not the colony.
If one of us were to die, the colony would still be the colony. If the queen died, we would not be the colony.
But the Queen cannot live on regalness alone.
Yes, she can. She's done it before.
No, she cannot.
A queen without a subject is just a really big meal for the next passing sparrow.
The queen without the colony is a flag without a ship.
What's a ship?
It's a big leaf.
It is a large construction of twigs. I have seen spiders use them.
Alright, and what's a flag?
A flag is a wavy piece of leaf that one sometimes draws symbols on with a piece of chalk.
What do they do that
It
for?
flaps about in the wind.
Digby-
It's ostentatious and pointless.
Why are you
is
so
what it is.
obsessed with leaves, Digby?
Leaves are a fascinating thing.
To be fair, he does spend most of his existence carrying them to the colony.
No, that's true.
Are you suggesting that my opinion is somehow invalid for I am a leaf cutter? This is outrageous.
I thought you were in demolitions, Digby.
Not at all, not at all. I'm just saying that your existence informs your opinion, which is why we have people from different walks of life in this philosophy society.
Digby,
Very
I
well, I
thought
can
you were
agree
a
with that.
demolitions worker.
I now work in demolitions. I am a leaf cutter ant by blood.
He demolitionises trees.
I blow up leaves. What I do.
Ah, so you're a leaf blower ant. Gotcha.
I'm a leaf blower. I never said I'm a celebrity. I'm an armchair socialist, really. I also do fireworks. I spend most of my time talking to my fans, really. I'm fake. I'm fake. I don't even drink ale. I like champagne.
Oh,
Literal champagne socialist. Good lord.
I reckon we've agreed then that in one way or another the colony is physical,
Yes.
but mainly because it's got a queen. And
Yes.
whether or not you think the queen is like the colony is physical, and a colony tends to have a queen, even if she is or isn't. I mean, we all know the queen is the most important, but even if she weren't the most important, even if in that like impossible world she weren't the most important, then we still know that she's physical, or the ants who are looking after her are physical. So it's all physical.
We can agree on
Yes.
that. There is a colony always has a physical element that usually, by convention, will include the queen.
and the
There we
ants.
go.
I feel there is perhaps more to say on this subject, but I am happy to let that rest for the moment.
Excellent.
Alright, Digby, what's your topic for today?
Okay, question number 62. Does the colony experience, or do the ants experience?
Oh.
I think the ants experience. I think the colony is a beautiful idea,
I
which
agree.
we can have collective endeavours, but I do not think the colony is some kind of hive entity. I think we have our individuality.
No,
Yes,
we're
we
not bees.
Experience our own
We're one
things.
colony, but we're all ants in our colony.
Exactly, yeah.
Precisely.
I don't think the colony can have a shared emotional memory, like a party, but I think we have our own individual experiences.
For once, Digby, I agree with you.
I reckon this is quite a simple one.
Against all my better judgment, I am also inclined to agree. I'm worried by how much I've been agreeing with Digby recently.
Well, in that case, does anybody want to add to the point?
Here's the thing that I would state is, again, meanings, definitions, very important. Ants all have their individual experiences, as in sensory and memory experiences.
Aye.
However, a colony can be said to have experiences of its own in the sense that, for example, we will leave resource trails alone if they have proved to be much more trouble than they're worth. We will stay away from those trails
Aye.
because the colony, as an aggregate, has had the experience that they're just not worth the fucking hassle.
That's
And
true.
also, for example, if we were to experience a famine, then the colony experiences a famine as a whole.
But
Exactly.
each individual ant in the colony experiences it.
Exactly. Every individual shares the same experience, so one can metaphorically say that the colony has had an experience, but really it's just a selection of individuals, like Civ says.
At the same time, returning to my earlier point, we may well leave a trail abandoned after any of the ants who experienced the hassle of trying to exploit that trail have died or have passed on.
Ah, yes.
The colony still has that memory, as it were, even if no one ant embodies that memory.
So the colony is made up of the experiences of many ants.
There is a
Emergent, I think is the word we're looking
emergent,
for.
exactly, a cultural zeitgeist, if you will, that we all share.
I must say, I did not expect myself to be quite this cultured when I arrived.
All of us have become rather dense, and I'm fine with that. I think we can all agree then, unless there's anything anybody has to add.
I reckon this is the most trivial of all things we brought to the table today.
Oh,
I agree.
Every question must be given its due, Civ.
You say that, Reginald, but this was a doozy.
Yes, I'm not going to disagree with that.
We have been surprisingly productive for a philosophy society. I'm quite happy with this.
Well, we got some good worker ants in here, you see.
I would say that each ant and its experience adds to its value, and thereby its value is determined by what experiences it has. For instance, 10 cycles of professional experience as, for instance, a leaf cutter. And thereby, it has more value to the colony to one who has just been born.
I, as a recent larva, would disagree. I have just as much inherent value as Digby here, who has been leaf cutting for many a year and then blowing things up.
Have you had 10 cycles of professional experience as either a cutter, a miner, a worker, or...
A soldier.
I work in a nail salon.
How?
And you do a fabulous job.
Many customers?
We paint human nails and sell them as fine art.
Oh, God. Oh.
No, oh.
That makes sense, but it's not the answer I was looking for. Oh, God.
Oh my
You
god!
see them on display at the ant gallery.
To Ant Modern. God.
Oh!
I heard about it in the clippings.
Oh. That's good. That is good.
This is either the best thing or the worst thing about this episode, and I can't decide which it is.
Bringing it back to the table, we can all agree that ants have experiences, and the colony has some sort of shared experience, but primarily ants experience things as individuals.
Yes.
Aye.
We agree to redefine the question to turn it from an or to an and.
Aye.
Yes.
And so, on that note, I think it's
Andek. Yes.
Andex.
And Deck, it's time to bring your question to the table.
I'll pose myself a question which I've brought sealed in this manila envelope, which is bigger than I am. Oh.
And yet you can still carry it because we are the strongest of creatures.
Here.
I hired someone to do it. Right, I have an opinion on this question.
Uh-oh.
Why do you gather food? Now, I gather food because I actually gather more than I would need or more than my colony would need because I know I can give it to other colonies for specific favours. For instance, introductions and tickets to their nail salons.
Traitor.
No, this is but good business on what can only be called a market for which I do not need to pay to be in.
Well, I was joking about the traitor thing, because we should definitely gather more food than we are needing, just for these circumstances like before we were talking about when we are attacked and such like. But what's the actual question?
Why do you gather food?
Yeah, to share with the other ants.
To eat, because I get hungry. We established that we either get hungry or we get empty.
So we must fill up our fellow ants.
Or we need to fill up ourselves, don't we?
I feel like many of us have answered this question sort of implicitly in previous questions.
Yes, but we need to tackle it head on.
We gather food so that the colony may grow to be the best version of itself.
Precisely.
And protect itself against other colonies.
No. We gather food to share with the other ants. I gather food for the sake of the ants, not for the sake of the colony.
I gather food from the stalls to give directly to the queen into her exalted mouth so that she may
Ugh, enough about her
continue
exalted
to,
mouth.
Its beautiful mouth.
Oh,
No.
hail.
Continue to reign over us and produce more ants for the glory of the colony.
This is the complexity in the question, is that many of us do not, in fact, gather food. For the mark of an undeveloped society is one where every member of that society has to spend all their time gathering food. Whereas we are a developed society
we
where
are the best colony.
some members... We are a good colony, but some members
We are
of the
the best
society...
colony.
Best colony.
We'll debate that later. Some members of society gather more food than they need to allow other members of the colony to use more of their time doing other things like painting nails instead of gathering food. That is civilization.
Yes, exactly, and we gather food for the queen so that she can rule us. And
It's not just about the bloody queen.
the queen is the most important member of our society.
I mean, the colony serves the queen. She's our head and our mum.
What she does is she may gather. No, she doesn't. Fuck. No.
She does fuck. That's one of the few things she does do.
She definitely does fuck. Believe me, she fucks.
It's a really important job.
She's sort of the only one who does.
Well, no, someone has to fuck.
Her only uses are fucking and tourism.
Those parades bring in more money per day than any other event of the
What,
year.
the fucking
Oh,
parade?
more fucking aphids moving around with little banners saying, "Oh, I love the Queen." Fuck off.
And them aphids do make a nice good snack.
A young boy took me to the colony to see the fucking parade.
Oh, God.
Oh, this is such a good game.
Fucking pageantry.
It's one of her key businesses is bunting.
Okay.
Brass bands and pageantry and fucking flying ants is a lot of bollocks.
Do you know how difficult it is to teach a worker ant to play the tuba?
Oh, let's have another round of God Save the Colony.
They got regulations on how many trumpets you can get in a
save
colony.
our gracious queen.
Oh no, not this nonsense again.
God Save the Queen has been at the top of the ant charts for 3 million years.
It's a fix, I
With
tell you.
good
It's a fix.
reason.
I did ask earlier what a god is, and I still don't know.
It's been chiseled in nail.
Oh.
I love how we've accidentally built a mythos.
Yes.
This is my favourite part of this episode.
I have a lot of questions about the ant god.
Oh god.
Yeah, him. That's the one.
Does he supply manila envelopes?
There is no possible way the ant god is male. There is absolutely no way
No.
the ant
Oh
god
no,
is male.
none whatsoever.
And God is definitely
This is true.
female.
Yeah, definitely female.
Like Gaia theory on roids.
Yeah, it's like, it's the queen. The one true queen.
The Queen of Queens.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah, yeah.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. Do we want to try and get back into character anytime soon?
Nah.
I suppose we can try.
Where were we? Oh yeah, fucking pageantry. That's where I was.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was distracted eating the manila envelope.
Is it tasty?
What was the question?
Yes.
May I please try some andek?
I don't think that was the question, Reginald. I don't think that was
So
the
long as you
question.
pay me a bit of food, I will give you a bit of manila envelope.
Why do we not all tear off equal-sized pieces of the manila envelope and we can all try it fairly?
It's a buyer's market, Digby.
Well, no, then my labour will be worth nothing, for I gathered the manila envelope.
No, your labour will be worth much. In fact, I'll forego my part of the manila envelope, for I am not currently hungry, and I do not need it, and it would be pure greed.
Oh, I'll have your bit
Manila
then.
envelope is not to satiate your hunger, it's more of a hobby.
You're all missing the point. You're all entitled to the same amount of vanilla envelope. What you do with it is your own business, but you're all entitled to an equal share, for we are all equal ants.
Nah, the Queen is more equal.
You are entitled to as many resources as you need to fulfill your purpose properly.
Precisely. Sometimes to fulfill my purpose properly, I need a hit of Manila.
Well, that's debatable, isn't it? Sometimes to fulfil my purpose, I need more food than I am
I feel
allocated.
like if you're under enough pressure that you need exotic substances to fulfill your job properly, then that says more about a problem with your HR department.
There is nothing wrong with my job, I just sometimes need a little pick-me-up.
Envelopes and circuses!
Hey.
What was the question in the envelope again?
Why do you gather food?
Oh yeah, because we're hungry.
And the answer is most of us actually don't gather food. Most of us get food from the stores.
But if we were to gather food...
I gather food from the stores. It's a lot of work.
If anything, you are logistics.
Again, we gather, we as in, ants, the colony, we gather food because that is essential to fulfilling our purpose, which is to be the best sort of colony that we can be.
Precisely.
Regardless of what we wish to do,
We want to
we
eat.
cannot do it if we do not eat.
Exactly. As our more grounded colleague Siv put it.
Who are you calling grounded?
Well, you're not flying, are you?
Look, we can't all be born with wings, okay? Just 'cause me cousin got them.
No. Your groundedness is to your credit.
Tell that to my wings.
I got credit? In what store?
My wings call me to sometimes quite literally a higher purpose. And I would not be as... If I were to devote my efforts to gathering or to fine art, as you yourself do, that would be a worse use of my faculties.
I mean, you are a soldier, and we all know the things that you do for Queen and Colony.
Exactly.
You're a true hero.
My 1.5 missing limbs applaud your recognition of that fact.
We won't be here without you.
I don't mean to be a spoilsport, but have we just got to the end of the idea of why do you gather food?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I feel like we have. We're achieving consensus at a rather troubling rate. I feel like on the agenda for the next meeting of the Antological Society, we need some more, dissenting voices.
Oh, we should get some of them scientists in.
We need to bring scientists, possibly under proper security, of course. Maybe we even venture to try and bring an aphid or a beetle or something like that. Get the proper, outside
Steady on now,
opinion.
steady.
This is an Antological Society.
Yes, not an aphidological.
There is such thing as a guest chitterer.
I don't know about this.
I think this sounds unwise.
I think we should let the aphids speak. I think the aphids have a lot to talk about, the pyramid structure that we live in.
It is called gathering intelligence.
The aphids have no intelligence to gather. They are the least intelligent creatures you will ever speak with.
That is a generalisation.
And it is true. There's a reason that generalisations get bandied about.
This is not true. You're not taking in your socio-economical factors as why the aphids are where they are in the pyramid.
This is taking a sharp turn into racism.
It really has. Reginald is a racist old man.
Having skirmished with aphids on numerous occasions, I shall have to disagree. They may not have the works of high culture and the tant modern that we have, but they are possessed of a certain cunning, and those shells are not a bugger to bite through.
Right, I guess that's meeting adjourned then.
Right.
Till next time, who wants a trial sample of manila?
Yeah, right.
envelope?
Yeah.
I shall have a bit
I'll
of
take
manila
another.
envelope.
I'd best not, I'm going on patrol. I need a clear head for that.
Surely, if you're going on patrol, you would want a bit of envelope, because it will help you when guarding your post.
Oh.
Yes! Yes! I am the king of this tiny hill!
Oh no. That's all we have for Antological Theory, but not to worry, because next week we'll be back with a brand new game. And we're into October now, so we're getting spooky with some Halloween horror. I promise you won't want to miss it. But until then, thank you for listening to Direcast. If you'd like to keep up to date with episodes and announcements, you can follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Direcast and on Instagram at DirecastPod, and subscribe to us on your favourite podcatcher. And hey, if you enjoyed listening to us, maybe consider giving us a rating or review, or sharing us with a friend. We'd really love that. Direcast is Luki Slinn, Matt George Lovett, Jacob Waugh, Helen, Peter Wellman, and H Folkmans. Our logo and banner art are by H Folkmans. The Direcast theme and Antological Theory Variation are composed and performed by Matt George Lovett, and this episode was edited by Luki Slinn. This week we were playing Antological Theory by Adira Slattery, a link to which can be found in the episode description along with our individual social media information. And at least for this week, that's how the die are cast.